Welcome to Best Life Ever. This is episode 3. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Miss Gina Paris from Built for Joy. Gina, thank you. Thank you so much for coming today.
Absolutely.
I am so excited to talk to you because seeing what you've done in your life and the cool things you're doing right now and how you just went through a massive life change and you turned it all to make your life even better. What could have been a tragedy, what could have been a horrible thing turned out for good. So anyway, Miss Gina Paris is, you spent decades helping high performers, athletes turn stress into strength. I want to hear about how you did that. But you were sought after, you were a speaker, you were all over the world, you had this great career going, helping people turn stress into strength. And then, boom, you had a beautiful home life, children, husband, and then boom, the ball drops out and you just had a massive life change. And you turned that around. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, instead of going to the pits, instead of letting it devastate you, Gina turns this episode around. She turns her divorce, her unexpected divorce around, and creates a new business and a new life with painting and joy and helping other people do the same. So for any of you that have had a tragedy or midlife transition, or you're like, okay, how did I end up here? Gina's going to share with us how she came through with flying colors. With beautiful colors like those paintings behind you. I can't wait to hear about your painting.
Yay.
So today you are an artist, you paint, and you help others, how do you say this, recover from midlife. Understand that midlife is not the beginning of a decline. It's an invitation to become who we were created to be.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yep.
But also, I like what you say because my pastor says it too. And that is the best years of your life are not behind you.
That's right.
Because the best joy and vitality is right here at hand. Gina, tell me how, do you want to talk about your background first and how you ended up with Built for Joy?
Well, like you said, I was helping athletes and entrepreneurs and doing all the high-end stuff under my Built to Win brand, and it was real masculine driven. And I also had a marriage podcast with 1 million listeners, and that was called Sexy Marriage Radio. And then I came home from Africa one day, and I felt like everything was firing on all cylinders there. I was staying with my dear friends who were the U.S. ambassadors to Kenya. So staying in their beautiful residence and then training and peak performance to the students and connecting people, dining with dignitaries, and then doing mission work in the bush. And I was so excited, and I came home and my husband wasn't talking to me. Like, I thought, this is not my imagination. This is weird. And when I'd ask him about it, he'd kind of blow up, like, don't ask me, I'm not ready to talk about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And finally he said, the thing is, I've been thinking about this for a long time. And our 4 children thought that our marriage, our life, like we were the happy family. They were young adults. And he goes, but I want a divorce. No, it's time to, go separate ways. But basically for a divorce, we had never even used the D word. And for some people listening, they're like, what? She just went through a divorce? That was a big tragedy. And for one thing, I was shocked and felt horrified for how much I never realized how painful it had been for people. I'm like, oh, yeah, divorce, I'm sorry. You think like, oh, I broke up with a boyfriend in high school. That must suck,
Not the same thing.
I realized the absolute devastation. And so because of the work I'd been doing in human performance and, I blend neuroscience and scriptures and quantum mechanics and all this stuff, I thought, okay, one thing I know is that within about 2 years, I will be back to my happiness set point. So I thought, I know what to do, even though right now I feel like every cell of my body has just disintegrated,
Did you really think that to yourself, that you'd be back to normal?
I did. I'm like, at least I know people bounce back after trauma. You know what? This research shows you bounce back even if it's a great thing. If you won the lottery within 2 years, if you were kind of crabby and negative before, you'll still be crabby and negative. We get back to our set point. So the best thing is raise your happiness set point. That's why I help people get built for joy. They don't know how.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, some people never
Rule
had joy
number
to
one.
start with.
Exactly.
But regarding those people winning the lotto, because I deal with finance, 80% of them lose all of it. 40% declare bankruptcy. You know why? Because they don't know how to handle money. Part of it.
It's our identity. All of us
Yeah.
act congruent to how we see ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had my identity was wife. I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like, I hope this doesn't hurt your brand. I'm like, okay, can whatever.
Yeah. That's like the last of your worries at that
Yeah,
point.
exactly. And I just thought, okay, here's what I will not do. Under any circumstances, I will not be the victim.
Yes. Amen. Amen. There is so much victim mode going on right now. It's sad, it's scary, and it's like people that have all this opportunity and they fall into victim mode and they can't. It's like, no, no, that's the wrong way to go. You have a much better life waiting for you. You just got to get out of that mindset. And then
Right.
that's what it comes down to is your mindset.
So the way that I laid hold of joy, well, for one thing, I let myself cry every day, like a lot. Because if you don't let yourself feel it, then you can't deal with it. So for probably 10 months, I cried a lot every day. I'd go for walks and I'd pray in the spirit and I would just sob. I'd sob and sob. And then one day, about 10 months, right before the divorce was final, actually, and I was living somewhere else, I walked to the end of the driveway and I went, and I thought, Gina, what you doing? And I'm like, well, I guess I'm done crying. It was that dramatic.
That's funny. But you caught yourself and you stopped it.
I didn't have to stop it. I was trying to force it. Like, this
Yeah.
is what I do now. I sob it out. And I thought, huh, I don't have any, I'm peaceful. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate because my ex wanted an amicable divorce.
Yeah.
He was kind and he didn't leave me for somebody. He's happily married now, and I get to meet her this weekend at a wedding
Nice.
reception for my kids. And you know what? I tell people everyone's world actually got bigger because this woman, she loves my kids and her kids love my kids. They're all kind of young adults together. They do trips together. And at first I'm kind of jealous because I'm like, well, I didn't do trips with my husband, but they do. And it's doesn't diminish my happiness.
That's
So I
wonderful.
think if the thing that helped me was taking joy from the future. And I would tell God, I know there is joy in my future. Even if it's not until heaven, I believe there's a heavenly version of all of us. And I would try to only visualize my ex from how he is in heaven and how he'll be in heaven and how I will be in heaven when none of this matters anymore, when we're all one bride to one groom, Jesus.
Yeah.
And so from there, I would let the highest and best in me deal with the highest and best in him as much as possible. Obviously, lots of times I've had self-pity. I mean, I fought the self-pity. I don't deserve this. And I didn't, but
Yeah.
the best is
But
still
you know what? You know what I love though?
yeah.
You gave to grieve, number one.
Exactly. It
You have
isn't.
to do that. You express the emotions. Some people keep it bottled up, and then some people just want to fight. Or I mean, I was dealing when you deal with money, you deal with people. I mean, you deal with their marriages. I mean, I think the one business that I really, really helped out, yeah, his business is doing great. It doubled in revenue. He's doing wonderful. His take-home pay tripled. The most amazing thing is it saved his marriage. It saved his marriage. So of everything I did for that couple and that business, the most important thing was saving their marriage. Now I didn't set out to do that. That I didn't realize that, but that's what happened. But I think people need to realize we have a choice. You have a choice how you do this. Vilifying your ex-husband doesn't help. Because I
No.
went through a divorce. It was devastating. It was amicable. We tried to be nice to each other. We
No.
didn't have kids. And you had it lucky. Your kids were all older, right? They were all out of high school.
They were, which is not easier on them. They were devastated. They were
I was
kind of
going to
like,
ask that.
they were
Really?
kind of like, if mom and dad can't make it, we're screwed.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Because
they just, and then they're like, well, what's true? What's real? It was hard, especially for the older two, I think. You know, man.
you guys were always together and you were always there for them.
Yeah, we called my son, who's a big professional athlete, and FaceTimed him to tell him. And he was already had been crying. He had his hoodie on, and he's just shaking his head, look at, and he goes, "I just hung up with my sister." And he said, "You know what? I need time to just deal with this." And he didn't talk to us for a long time. And so, and when Paul had told his sister, I still don't know what she said, but it was ugly and horrible. And she was mad. They were furious and disgusted with us. And then they were mad at both of us. And, and for a couple years, it was rough. And it was during COVID when there was like such a spirited division over the whole country anyway,
Yeah.
And for a while I felt like the odd man out. Like, wow, it's all of them against me. Or it was just, we'll tell ourselves these stories. And the best thing to do is tell yourself the story of how you'll be in heaven.
Yeah.
And lay hold of that version of yourself and that version of your mate. And I didn't feel like being the built to win girl. And so I started painting all the time. And I hired a coach, it was worth $10,000 for me.
Had you painted before? Had you painted all your life?
I had been painting for the previous few years because I knew something was weird, and so I was kind of, I wasn't really hustling to get a lot of baseball clients or anything, and so I was painting more, and I posted something on Facebook, and I started getting orders for paintings, and I'm like, this is
Really?
interesting.
It's
Yeah.
cathartic though, isn't it? I mean, I think art is, and people forget that.
100%. I have a saying that without creative expression, we are all prone to depression.
Ooh, that is so good.
Because most midlifers like us, we've been taking care of everyone else, and creativity seems frivolous.
Yep.
It is not, especially in this age of AI and fake creativity. We need creative expression, and I call us the beauty makers. When we're the creators, we are the beauty makers in a world gone mad. So I'm gathering other people. I want to show you the disaster that is my art table right there.
That's okay. You should see my writing room. It's like stuff all over the place. So,
Yes, but I have open studio sometimes and art parties, or
yeah.
sometimes it's just for my creative expression so that I become a better coach. Some of my clients for life coaching want to meet in my studio, even though they're not artists. They just love the vibe of the studio.
Oh, I could see that. As soon as you came on camera, I'm like, oh, and by the way, that's my favorite color, and I need some of those paintings.
This is so many iterations of this painting, and now it's like the 10th layer. I totally changed the colorway, and I'll probably make it lighter, even more like this one. Who knows?
Wow.
But it's been in progress for a long time.
You know what? I think that's funny because I'm kind of a dork analytical person that I was an engineer before I became an accountant and running businesses. But one, we need to allow ourselves to create. And two, we need to allow the iterations. Like nothing starts out perfect. Nothing starts out good. You just got to get started. And we need to allow ourselves to do stuff just for fun. Sometimes we take life so seriously and we're so busy. Like now, like you've got the kids. I don't have children other than the four-legged ones, but I have two parents that I was taking care of. And I spent a year and a half, here in Ohio taking care of them. Never thought I'd end up in Ohio. This Michigan girl, I put out my blue and yellow and they're all in wet red and white. I'm like, yeah, I'm a little bit of a foreigner here, but that's okay. Anyway, but we just recently put them in the home and they are so happy. Like, I always said I'd never do that. And I thought that would be a horrible thing. My dad is so happy. I'm like, Dad, do you like it here? He's like, I love it here. And he doesn't say this, but they walk down to the restaurant. They get a menu. They get to choose what they want. He doesn't have to eat his wife's cooking. He doesn't have to eat my cooking. He doesn't have to get in the car and go to a restaurant because his wife and daughter are not the best cooks in the world. He is so happy. And it took forever for me and for them to want them to go into the home. And thank God my other three siblings, my sister's a former military police. She just put her foot down one day. I mean, we'd been in and out of the hospital and doctors for a year and a half. She's like, nope, that's it. We're done. Thank God. Anyway, I kind of sidetracked there, but
Yeah, and that is part of the challenge in our generation. We're taking care of parents, and many of us are young adult kids. It's a
Yeah.
lot. And self-care and self-expression is the most important thing. And probably in my marriage, I had lost the joyful version of myself. I think he was in some ways like, I didn't, who are you? You know? And so the art helped me come alive, and it was probably a little too late, honestly. It helped me be true to myself instead of thinking, oh, this isn't very masculine for my baseball players. They're probably like, what's Gina doing? Painting flower? You know? And
It is so good to hear you
they
say
were
that.
not talking about me. In my head, they're talking about me. No one's thinking about you. They're thinking about their own problems.
Yeah, yeah. But it's funny, but do you think you got so busy striving you forgot how to have fun?
I could have fun out there, but not here. It was weird. You know, the truth is now, and God bless my ex, he said at the end, Gina, you are this beautiful person. This is the first time he said any nice things in like 20 years. So I remember because I'm verbal. Oh yeah, his our love languages were a mile apart. So he said the things I love to hear. Like you're a beautiful person and you light up a room walking in it and you love with no filter and you are wicked smart and it will always be hard for us. He said you need somebody who like uses his words and who likes to go places and have adventure and, because I just want a simple life, which he married a woman who's really wildly successful and they work out. She's a CPA. She's like a forensic CPA. They're two spreadsheet nerds together. It's so cute. That's what you need, a spreadsheet nerd. And I found out that I love the men who are adventurous and love to
Yeah.
talk and who it's just he was right. He
Wow.
was right.
Wow.
And so all I
Well, you
can
know what?
think,
Thank God he could see that,
yes, because
you know,
do you know
and
he had to risk
admit to
being
it.
hated. He had to risk being hated by the four people he loved the most to
Yeah.
be in that kind of integrity with himself. That was courageous. And
Wow.
so when I haven't seen him in a couple years, and so I'll see him this weekend with the wife. I told one of my kids, "Hey, when you see her, tell her I already love her because of how much she loves you." And he said, "Mom, that's such a classy thing to say." He said, "She really is lovely." And I said, "That makes me so happy." So I'm praying it's not weird and awkward, but I
It won't be.
don't think
It
it will
won't be.
be. Because
No, but
you
keep
know what?
going.
Because I am choosing to be love.
Yeah.
We love because we are loved. Because we're loved and we are loved.
It
So,
is a sign of health and a sign of maturity because when you see couples that don't do it that way or they want to fight or just prove that they're right and it's like you're not right, you just have a different opinion and a different point of view.
one
So
time I went for a walk with my daughter and I said some kind of dig about her dad that, this was his doing.
yeah.
I wanted her
Sometimes it comes out.
to be on my side. And in that moment, she goes, "Mom, the thing is, Dad would never say anything bad about you." And I thought, dang it! He can't outclass me now, too. So I'm like, I'm classier. From now on, I'm classier.
Yeah.
I will only say kind things.
Yeah.
And so, for
But
the
you
most
know
part,
what? You were hopefully best friends for 31 years,
I
right?
know,
And
yeah,
it's a change, and it's a major change. But how do you, like, I was only married, I think, for 11 years, right? But
yeah, yeah.
and we dated or were engaged for 3 years. But he was my best friend for 14 years. How can you hate someone who was your best friend for 14 years?
Oh, yeah, you
You
built a
know?
life together. You're grieving
Yeah.
this future. It is grief because you're totally grieving the future that you thought you'd have, and you're grieving the story that you thought was true. It's such a grief. And, my heart goes out to everyone going through it. And in a lot of cases, the women file at our age, the majority of the time, it's the woman who filed.
Yeah.
But, for the unsuspecting spouse or whatever. Sometimes you just don't know what you're going to do now that your kids left the house or now that you're changing careers or finishing a career. All these things that beg the question, what's next?
Yeah. And
I,
sometimes, who am I? You
who
know?
am I? Oh my word.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
big one. No,
Yeah.
it's my friend wrote a book. I got to grab it for you. It's crazy. It's funny, but she said menopause. She's a nurse, but she said menopause, and my client calls it menopause because he's like Deborah. He's like, I went in and he was a new client, and I did his budget, and I was looking over his company books and stuff, and he's like, I got my menopause car. I'm like, you what? He's like, my menopause car, and I'm like, he had 3 teenagers. I'm like, Volvo, Subaru, like something safe, right? So I said those. He's like, no, Deborah, it's my menopause car, and I'm like, you bought a Porsche? He's like, yeah, I got a Porsche.
That's funny.
Within 6 months, he had to sell it. But anyway, we won't go there.
Really? That's so.
Yeah, I didn't tell him he had to. He came to the realization when I gave him the numbers that was not such a good idea. He made money off it. It's okay. He didn't
Exactly.
lose money off it. But anyway, I sidetracked just a bit. But yeah, you also came out okay financially, and a lot of women don't do that. I'm dealing with a lot of women now that
True.
husband died, got sick, they spent their whole 401k or, spent 10 years taking care of the husband, and now they find themselves in their 70s with not a lot of money, starting all over again. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, you can do this. There's ways to do it. I have one friend who's 82 who makes more money on YouTube with her art videos than she does in her studio. Not more, but her money from YouTube is enough to.
Man,
It's better than most people's salaries, right?
We need to talk about that.
We will talk about that. Your art is just gorgeous. So how did you take what you experienced it and turn it around and turn it into something that you can help other women with?
Well, that was the vision. So having the vision of doing that in my darkest hour is what kept me going. I'm like, okay, someday I'm going to help other people know your story doesn't end here. And I had friends that had been through it. I remember one time knocking on their door saying, I'm just here to assume the fetal position on the guest bed. Don't mind me. And she's and I went and curled up, and she sits down and she goes, Gina, your story doesn't end here. So for one thing, you need community and camaraderie.
Yeah.
There's no win in this, and you need people who are loving and who love you and won't make you a victim.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you have every right to hate him, and you could be angry, and you can feel those emotions, and we need to express those emotions. The church world needs to be careful not to say, well, you can't have those emotions. It's like, no, we're human beings. You have to express those emotions. But yeah, healthily.
yeah. At that time, I had just started going to a Tuesday art group. It was just an open studio. And everything in my life had been virtual up to then. We coached internationally on Zoom. And so this was the first time I had weekly in-person people. It took forever to even learn their names. But there are about a dozen of us that would meet every Tuesday, and that just meant the world to me. They watched my life go from happy and joyful to heartbreak, tragedy to romantic comedy. Then every week they're like, tell us about your latest dates. Tell us about the men.
Do I even want to go there? I want to ask you what it was like dating in your 50s, and then part of me doesn't want to know. But I've seen a couple people, coaches I worked with online, and sorry, I've got to get my little camera here. And one got married at 54, and the other one is in her late 50s and just got married. And I know I'm getting married again.
I think it's great. I'm the only person I know that loved it. I'm starting to meet a few more people that like dating.
Yeah.
But if you can learn to make your self-care a priority, and you can learn to show up joyful and happy, then a man will be like, ooh, every man wants to make his woman happy. But you have to have a baseline. So if you are so negative and pessimistic, every man is like, nope, no.
Well, nobody wants to be around negative energy.
No.
Nobody wants that.
Like women are like, I need a man. You're like, ooh, you won't get one like that. And so, when you're happy, guys are like, ooh, I could make her happier. And also, I went back to the gym. One day, the ex and I and the children were all together, and he goes, hey, by the way, I renew your gym membership which I don't know why it never occurred to me to go get a gym membership, because I've worked out with fitness videos for decades. I was a gym rat from 14 years old to about 26 years old. And then the babies had 2 kids, already. And so I started working out at home to videos, and I just got used to that. Going back to the gym helped me so much, and I got my body back. And for the first time, I learned macros. I learned how much protein I actually need and how undernourished I was my whole life.
Wow. Most people are either undernourished or dehydrated, and sometimes both. Yeah. We
Exactly.
don't. Yeah.
Exactly. So I like to help women include the fact, like sometimes I'll post videos and you can tell I have 6-pack abs and everyone's like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And
I don't know that I'll ever get that, but I don't know if you can see my rebounders over there.
yeah, the rebounder. And then you need to lift heavy weights,
If you had told me that I would be jumping on a trampoline a few years ago, I would have said, are you nuts? No, I'm not going to do that. I love it because instead of pounding your feet on the pavement and hurting your knees and your ankles, which after 50 you don't need, that thing is wonderful.
And
Even if you just do a healthy bounce 10 minutes a day, you can completely change your physique, and it helps your lymph nodes, your lymphatic system.
your lymph system. And it's impossible to be in a bad mood when you're bouncing.
Yeah, that helps
That and
too.
Zumba. I have the biggest smile on my face when I Zumba. I'm like, how can anyone do this with a straight face? You're like,
I can't do Zumba because I'm trying to get every move down and I can't do it. I'm like, forget it. I end up doing the Tasmanian
That's
devil. Like,
so
no,
fun.
just give me my rowing machine and some weights.
That's awesome. Yeah, but anyway, I got so blessed by the people who opened their studio,
Yeah,
and I thought I need to do that in my, because it's 30 minutes north of me, and I thought I need to do it for the people who are called to my space. Open
yeah,
open my space, and we paint together and we connect around the table. To me, it's way more intimate and real and vulnerable than trying to have a Bible study and go around the circle and everyone says something. It's so organic and natural and great. So that's been just really, really great. And then people, sometimes I'll still do online challenges,
yeah,
how to turn in stress into joy. You asked how I turn stress into strength,
yeah.
because it's a mindset that whatever the stress is, that is your invitation to picture the opposite and step into that. Because the things that don't stress you out, they don't grow you. Like if the Olympics were canceled, I
Yeah.
would not be stressed out because I don't train for the Olympics. Some of my clients, that would be the most devastating thing in the world.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So you took what you went through and now you have your open studio every Wednesday,
I do.
and people just go to your builtforjoy.com and they can sign up
No,
there, or do they
no,
just
no. It's local. So I'll put like in the local Facebook groups, and they have to kind of sign up, or else
Okay.
it ends up with a little small chat on my phone, and we'll say who's coming, because it really doesn't hold that many people,
Yeah.
maybe
That's
6 or 8.
beautiful. So have you taken that, what you went through, and turned that into your coaching program now?
Yeah. In a lot of ways, your identity is a big thing. So I kind of have a process called Wake Up, where you wake up to your true identity.
Okay.
That's a whole nother story. I can come back to how God told me my name and how he sees me when I was like, I'm just a disappointment. Identity. So wake up to who you really are, and then to look up to really understand your God-given assignment, what God's given you to do. So wake up and look up, and then clear up. This part I've always done, clear up the internal conflicts to that. Obviously there's areas of my life where I'm still fighting my own internal conflicts all the time, because sometimes we have two opposing beliefs at the same time. You're like, yes, I really want to start my own business and grow my impact, but I don't want to be trapped in something that I make people disappointed in me. Or we have some kind of
It's
internal conflict.
misconceptions, it's fear. Sometimes that's our fear
It's
speaking, and
always
you got to
fear.
get rid of the fear.
It's
Yeah.
always fear. It's either love or fear.
Yeah.
So our fear keeps us from stepping out in love, but
Yeah. You know
only
what? You can
only love.
experience fear, but you got to get out and take action anyway.
Exactly, because your love will drive out the fear. Your love will overcome. It'll make you overcome it. Love makes us courageous.
You know what I love? I like Built for Joy so much. Built for Win is nice, but it's that go, go, go. It just
Exactly.
reminds me of the 80s, and that's what we grew up in, right? You know, like
Being a peak performance coach. I'm like, I don't even care. That was my downfall, was that I was so performance
yeah.
driven.
Well, you know what? Because you left yourself behind. You forget that my friend and I were having this conversation. Like, we take care of the body, we take care of the spirit, we take care of, the family and the career. But what about your soul? Your soul has to prosper, and we can't leave the soul behind. And that's why when I was talking to her about Bloom, she's like, Deborah, Bloom has to be about the soul. You got to bring the soul in. She's like, hitting goals doesn't matter if you're not prospering in the soul.
Exactly. What does it matter if you gain the whole world and lose your soul?
Yeah.
And that's what we want to bring. At our age, the world needs our wisdom and our soul.
Yes, it does. Especially the young kids. I look at what they're going through and the
Exactly.
culture they're growing up in. And how do you combine God with business and God with the way the culture is, and without becoming overly religious and that rigid religious spirit? So yeah. But I mean,
Yeah. I was at our church meets in a wedding barn, and the band is in the middle, and we all are around it so we can like prophesy over each other when we're singing. And the other day, my friend who goes to church is a DJ, and he had his birthday party there. So it's all secular music, all the naughty stuff, and which is like 2 songs that you might say are naughty. But anyway, I said to my girlfriend, who's my age, because these kids are all 40 and under, and I said,
I love it. The kids are 40. They are for us. I mean,
I said, look at these kids. They're so free, because they're all on fire for Jesus. I said, it took me decades to get this free, because I would have thought that was so demonic. Like, oh, that's devil music, Dancing is the devil. So now I'm way more fun. And I love Jesus.
it's fabulous. You look fabulous. It sounds like life is fabulous. Doesn't mean we don't have hard days, but you know how to get through them. And so many people don't, or they fall back to that victimhood. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Wake
you're a
up,
victor.
look up, and then clear up your conflicts, and then speak up. We need to speak up what God has taught us.
Yeah,
So
we do. We do.
that's it.
Best way for people to get a hold of you is that to go to builtforjoy.com.
Yeah, they can go to builtforjoy.com or follow me on social. I'm pretty easy if you comment on my posts or
Yeah.
say you want
Luckily,
to.
your last name is much easier to spell. I just made a new YouTube channels and I got rid of my last name. Like,
That is so.
difficult.
I think you should be Bloom with Deborah, but Bloom with Deb.
Bloom
But
starts next week. Oh, that's what I forgot. Would
exciting.
you please come in and do a little session with my Bloom group and
Yes,
help the ladies,
yes.
turn their stress into joy?
I will absolutely do that. I have a few different processes that I use, and that'd be
Okay.
really fun.
Okay, we will talk and you can tell me what I need to do or how I need to prepare the group. But yeah, we'll have you come in sometime in August.
That'd be
That
fantastic.
would be great. Any last words of wisdom, even for maybe people not going through divorce or but thinking about marriage, or people that have come through a traumatic event? Like, what's the best advice you could give them of how to turn that around? I mean, I think you just showed us your whole example, but
Yeah, after
someone who's maybe stuck.
really understand that your brain is trying to conserve energy. And so it's going to just think the same thoughts that it has thought the day before and the day before and the day before. And so the quality of our life is about the quality of our emotions. So the most practical thing to learn to do is practice feeling like you want to feel, which means like journal every day and start asking, what am I feeling? And get really honest. What am I feeling? Am I afraid? Am I mad? Am I discouraged? Am I, whatever. I have like an emotion wheel with tons of emotions to help you put a label on it. And then what am I believing? What do I have to believe is true to feel this way? And ask Holy Spirit, ask God, what am I believing? And then what do you want me to believe? What's the truth? And then we're like, write that truth down, keep it in front of you, start saying it, saying it, saying it, because it's like getting in shape. Changing your thinking to change your emotions is like changing your body, but you can do it. And because your best emotions are accessible, That is why your best life can still be ahead, because you have the power to make the best emotional experience possible.
I love that. I love that. You basically, I started working with Ed Rush and the God Talks team, and I'll tell you about that another time. But he says words turn into thoughts that turn into actions, and that's what we base our belief system on. And so we got to change our words and our thoughts. You're
Exactly.
coming at it from the emotional side, but it's all of those things. The emotions are all wrapped up in that.
We're emotional. We're more emotional
Well,
than
sometimes our
affectional.
emotion causes those words and thoughts, right?
That's what we feel. Because if you change your thoughts and words, but not the emotions, it doesn't change you. We make decisions based on emotions and we justify them with logic. And so for the men like that who are very logical,
And some women.
it's still you want everything we do. Ultimately, everything we want is because we want to feel a certain way. I want that Porsche because it makes me feel a certain way. I want that trip so I'll feel a certain way. I want that boyfriend so I'll feel a certain way. I want that. I want to look great so I'll feel a certain way. So if you can get yourself to feel the way first, then you will automatically find the how. It's
Wow.
remarkable.
Wow. That's a different process than a lot of people have.
Absolutely, but
But it's amazing. It works. It
feels good
works.
faster. It feels good faster.
I just listen. I see your joy on Facebook, and when you post them, you're so encouraging and so loving. And Gina, thank you, for sharing your process and sharing what you went through, your story. It's a testimony to you chose life. That's
Yes,
beautiful.
and the
That's
best is
beautiful.
yet to come,
Okay.
so I'm excited.
What else are you doing? I'm sorry, those paintings are so beautiful. Have you put those on cards or anything else that the mass public can get a hold of?
I do need to do that. I have tons of watercolors and everything like that. And my little butterfly painting. Dude, aren't they cute? They're real gold leaf.
I can see the green now. I can see the orange. So,
I
lady, we
know.
need to build your business. We need to build your brand.
I know. So we'll get with Deb,
Okay.
build side. I know, because I'm like, oh, that's just the byproduct of my work. It's like, oh, it should be another income stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes
No.
it's a great income stream.
No. I love your stuff so much. You're sharing it with a limited, I mean, your small group, you got to keep that small, and that's fun. That's the interaction, and we got to have human interaction, especially in this day of social media. But yeah, you got to get that stuff out there and share your talents and your wisdom with the
Thank
world.
you. Yes, that's part of the plan and the corporate events and everything.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, congratulations, because you are living a life with joy. It's just beautiful.
Thank you. What a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you. Thank you. Any last words before we wrap it up?
Nope. I just look forward to hearing your story. If you're listening and anything I said resonates with you and you want to share your story with me, I'd love to hear it.
Oh, yeah, everybody, please, please
Mhm.
comment. You can comment on YouTube. You can find it, Gina, on Facebook for sure. And if in Nashville, we're going to talk about possibly doing something next year. I don't know where it is, but I'd love to have a live event where we bloom in all areas of our life.
Absolutely. Very cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, that's it for today, guys. That is Miss Gina Paris, Built for Joy, and I'm butchering your name badly, but
Paris, like the city
Paris.
with 2 R's.
I should know that. I used to live there. So Miss Gina Paris. I got it. Anyway, Built for Joy. Thank you. Thank you. I love talking to your sister. I could talk to you all day long. But
Love
thank
it.
you. And may God bless you and God bless everybody listening to this podcast. That's it for now, guys. Have a great day. God bless everyone.